Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this new video on our channel. And today we want to find out what does it take to make 30k a year playing live cash. So today we want to talk about potential win rates, which win rates are achievable right now in 2022, and which hourly do you have on limit 200, 300, 500 or 1k. So I will give you a breakdown how many hours you need on which stake and which other factors are important. And we should focus at first on all the other factors because those factors will determine our win rate, our live win rate. And of course, in live cash, the win rates are way bigger than online because the field is playing way worse and you always have a lot of recreationals. And that's the reason why our win rates in live cash are so insanely high. Okay, so at first, the win rate is important. And we all know in online cash, the win rates are quite small, right? In online cash, when you have around 5 big blinds, you are a solid winner. Of course, in around 100 hands. In live cash, it's different. In live cash, a solid rack has between 5 and 10 big blinds per hour. And of course, even more is definitely possible, depending on a lot of other factors. But this is a standard win rate. And you can also go to Instagram or read in some blogs, and you will see this is definitely a realistic win rate right now. And this means, of course, you make 10 big blinds per hour. And of course, we are not playing many hands in an hour when we play at the live field, right? And there you can see that our live win rate is so much bigger than online. And of course, you need to be a good winning player, right? Otherwise, it's not possible to get to those 30k. So this leads us to point number 2, the skill level. Of course, when you play on the lowest stake, so let's say you play on normal 200, you don't need to know a ton about game theory to beat the game for 10 big blinds, because there are a lot of people just giving free money away. So even when you have not the best understanding of game theory, you could be a really good winner, because you know how to exploit, how to win the max, how to make great laydowns, how to make thin value bets against specific opponents, stuff like this. But of course, once you get higher and higher in stakes, the more important it is to know something about game theory. So only move up when you have a solid win rate, right? When you play break even or you win with like 3 big blinds per 100 over a large time span, then it's probably not a good idea to move up from normal 200 to normal 500, because on normal 500 there will be tougher opponents, so your game also needs to be better. Makes sense, right? And of course, when I talk about 5 to 10 big blinds per hour, this is over a long time span. In one evening, or in 2 evenings, or 3 evenings, or even in 2 weeks, basically everything can happen, right? You can win with 50 big blinds, you can lose with 50 big blinds. This does not matter. Usually we say everything under 500 hours is not interesting. When you have 500 hours or even more, then you have a somewhat good idea what your win rate should be. And when you played 1k hours or 1000 hours, the win rate should be quite accurate. Yeah, what else is important to determine which win rates and hourlies are possible? And of course, the rake plays a huge factor. Do you just pay $2 per hand and that's about it? Do you pay $5 or do you pay $20? Is the rake uncapped? Do you have to pay tip? Stuff like this, right? Do you have to pay for food? Do you get comms? This is also a huge factor, which win rates are possible. Of course, when the rake is really low, then really high win rates are possible. So for example, when you play in a home game and there's no rake, of course, especially when you play against really weak opponents, you can achieve unbelievable win rates. That's for sure. So definitely consider this and look at the different rooms, which rake structure do they have. And do not forget about the most important point, because this is a player pool. It is usually not helpful when you play in a room that has low rake, but the best players. Then I would definitely opt to pay for more rake and play against all the weaker opponents, because your win rate will still be really high. Just pay attention that you don't pay way too much rake, but I'd say most official casinos are definitely beatable. But when it comes to home game, please use your brain. This is really important. When they charge 5% uncapped, for example, you should know that this is not a game to go to. Pay attention that they take a somewhat equal amount as the casino does, and then you're basically good to go. And the last point is, of course, the buy-in. Because in some places you can only buy in for 50 big blinds. In some other places 100 big blinds is the max. In other places it's 200, 300 big blinds. And in some other casinos the buy-in is uncapped. And of course, when the buy-in is uncapped and a lot of players buy in deep, of course you can reach 30, 40 big blinds per 100 depending on how the game plays out. Because usually the buy-in is one of the most important facts. Does the game play really, really deep? Does everyone just buy in for 50 bigs? Do you live in a wealthy state? Stuff like this. This is really, really crucial and yeah, can definitely affect your win rate by a ton. Also, pay attention on the other players and on the different casinos. Do the people buy in for 200 big blinds, for 300 big blinds, or is everyone buying in for a minimum? Because this will decrease or increase your win rate a lot. Okay, so let's assume we are a really, really good winner. So we crush with 10 big blinds. As mentioned, definitely higher win rates are possible, but I'd say most good live racks have around 10 big blinds. And that's definitely true for all the stakes that are available basically everywhere. So definitely between low limit 200 and low limit 1k. On higher stakes, it's definitely different, and high stakes don't run everywhere. This would be another topic. But let's take a look at low limit 200. What does it take to make 30k a year? So when we play in low limit 200, we assume we make 10 big blinds per hour. So we make 20 euros or $20 per hour. And this results in 125 hours per month, so 31 hours per week. So we need to grind 4.5 hours a day to make this 30k. Of course, on the side, 7 days a week. Of course, this is 7 days a week. So this is quite stressful, but I'd say it's still possible when you really need those 30k or you really want to make this 30k on no limit 1-2, no limit 200. On no limit 300, as you can see, it's way easier. Cause you make 30 bucks an hour, so 150% more, and this are only 83 hours per month, 21 hours per week, or 3 hours per day. I would say this is definitely possible, especially when you have a lot of free time on Saturday and Sunday. You can just grind for 12 hours and you basically don't need to grind any other days a week. And you don't need to grind in any other days during the week. And of course, when you move up in stakes, it gets easier and easier. So at 2.5, no limit 500, that's 50 bucks an hour, something to work with, right? So then you only need 50 hours per month, 12.5 hours per week, so around 2 hours per day. And as mentioned, even when you only have the weekend, this is definitely possible, or should be definitely possible. And of course, when we double our limit, when we move up to 1k no limit 1,510 blinds, you make 100 euros or dollars per hour, depending on where you live, 25 hours per month, 6.25 hours per week. So only an hour a day, right? Then you could make 30k a year. But be aware, you cannot move up from no limit 200 straight to no limit 1k, because we already talked about it. You need the skill level, right? You need to be able to crush with 10 big blinds, otherwise it's less. So make sure to use a live tracking app, right? Or yeah, just use Google Docs or just a raw text editor on your phone where you just put in your loss, the amount of hours, stuff like this. Because this is really important that you know your real live poker win rate. Because only then you can calculate how much is possible. How much can I personally make a year? Do I play in a great home game? Do I make 30 big blinds an hour? Do I miss some theory? Do I only make 5 big blinds an hour, right? So I only make 10 bucks on no limit 200. Stuff like this. So you can definitely calculate on your own. And even if you are 1-3 rack, it's definitely possible to make 30k a year extra on the side without too much effort. As you can see, it's only 3 hours a day. And if you think about how much Netflix you're watching or doing other stuff that is not necessary, you can definitely grind on average 3 hours a day. As I mentioned, when you have a lot of free time on the weekend, this should be easily achievable. Plus, when you invest some free time in getting better, then you can move up to limit 500, and then, as you can see, under 2 hours a day on average, then it should be easily achievable. Just make sure those games run on a regular basis. Look at all those factors, look good, and yeah, then you're basically good to go. So as you can see, 30k a year is not that hard as a live poker player. Even low limit 200, you can do it. And when you use the Google search, you'll also find out there are some people that already did something like this in the past, and this is still possible. So when you had the dream to make a living or earn some money on the side, it's definitely possible. So try it out. But be honest to yourself, work with the real numbers, track every single session. If you won 10 buy-ins, if you lost 10 buy-ins, just write down every single session, because otherwise you cannot calculate how much you really make per hour. And this is crucial to calculate how much you need to play per month, per week, and per day to get to those 30k. So yeah, I hope this was interesting. This was mind-blowing to some of you. If you have a great topic or a live poker hand you want to get reviewed, just shoot us a DM or write us on Discord. So yeah, I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time.